looking at that stuff. The other thing that I thought was really interesting that happened today, and I'm one of the admin. There's a little page on Facebook called Black Birder Coalition. I'm one of the admin. My co-admin posted an article from Charles Blow, and she said that the post gave her life. I actually agree with her. I think we probably needed a better intro, but it was a post about Charles Blow wrote an op-ed about Bernie splaining to Black people, and it all relates. Because we're having this conversation about the Black vote, the Latino vote, getting out the vote with people of color. Can Bernie Sanders, spread that message? Black leadership all over the place is breaking their necks to say he's lying, he doesn't do this. By the way, everybody, that picture of Bernie marching with Dr. King in '63 is actually a picture from March 1965 of Selma, which, according to the official bios, anything Bernie Sanders has ever said is not him. So please stop sharing it, because you even have people like Jonathan Capehart on TV talking about, oh, they're lying. Bernie Sanders has never claimed that was him in that photo. There's a picture, everyone keeps circling it saying, see, he was with Dr. King. He has said time and time again, he was at the March on Washington. The March on Washington had like 100,000 people on there, right? He's never actually said that he directly worked right specifically with Dr. King. He said he was at the March on Washington. So everyone needs to start blowing it out of proportion. He was a member of CORE. He did work on desegregating housing at the University of Chicago. Stick to what is already there in the facts. Stick to his record. Look at the record. Look at when he voted against juvenile crime bills in the 90s. Look at his record on the death penalty. Go listen to old speeches. There's facts there. You guys don't have to make up anything. You don't have to make him larger than life. And this goes into the Charles Blow piece. Overall, I did not agree with the tone, like with many of the different pundits and stuff. But overall, the piece was about how with several Bernie supporters who decide they want to engage Black voters, whether it's the vitriol that happened after Netroots and the Seattle Black Lives Matter interruption, or even the way some people have kind of freaked out about the Coates reparation stuff. Granted, I was critical of it, not because I disagree with Coates in terms of reparations, but I disagree with having a one-sided conversation when we're in a presidential debate and we're talking about people needing to earn our vote. We need to have a balanced conversation across the board about people earning our vote, about engaging anyone. And going back to the Blow piece, the Bernie splaining, again, like the picture that's not even an accurate picture, throwing that out there as if, and people do this. My co-admin on a couple different pages, I help co-admin and stuff. We've had people who Bernie splain to us. No, it's not just some right wing or Hillary conspiracy theory. Same thing with the brain. It's not, maybe it's overblown. Maybe it's an overestimate or over exaggeration, because Twitter and Facebook, social media is not a real, a really good sampling of real life and what people value and believe when they're talking to people. But at the same time, there is a lot of stuff that goes on with the, oh, he's just the best for everybody. Well, okay, but here's the thing, white people, I'm in love with you. Black folks, we don't like hearing from you about what's best for us, right? We've been hearing that for generations now. And quite honestly, every time that is said, it's only to get us to go along with you. And then y'all hit us with the woo-woo, and it takes us a long time to recover again. Just talk to people, and I think with the piece, when Blow mentions that, Sanders is a candidate, he does acknowledge, which is great because a lot of them don't, that he's a candidate of integrity. He does have a good record, right? Which counters everything else everybody was trying to say all the rest of the day. He does actually have a good record of his own. He is a good candidate. You don't have to sell people on false hopes. You don't have to build this like, oh, he's going to save us. I wrote a piece a while back about how I felt when the decision was made to not bring charges against the cops involved in the Tamir Rice shooting. I have a 12-year-old son who got a paintball gun for Christmas. And I wrote my piece and everyone was like, oh, this is so moving. This is so great, blah, blah, blah. But I had people respond to my post. I had white Bernie supporters respond to my post like, well, Bernie's going to make this all better. Okay, so I'm going to pause. Please stop. Because no one can make everything all better. Nobody's perfect. He's not God. As much as we like to, talk about how he's a Jewish socialist, and we remember another Jewish socialist, ha ha he. He's not the Messiah. And we don't expect him to be that for us. We want people to level with us and treat us like we're competent adults when they're talking to us about democratic politics, engaging. I mean, we need to engage. But on the flip side, so I do think that there is an issue with how people are trying to engage Black voters in particular. Just talk to people about the record. Just talk to them, you know, find out what people value and then talk. One of my best friends is a libertarian. She's from West Virginia. We have nothing in common politically. We have everything in common in terms of our families and what we value. And I find that we actually have a lot of common ground on things when we talk about what we value versus just straight political ideology. And I think that's a better tool for a lot of people. So while yes, the mainstream media does seem to have this issue with the way they go after Bernie and, oh, he's just pandering for the Black vote. But I mean, we cannot ignore the fact that he does on the campaign zero, you know, little chart evaluation sheet that was laid out, that he does have, last I checked, it was 9 out of 10 of the categories, as Ben has said previously on the show. You know, Hillary may at this point have like 6 out of 10. You know, he did let Black Lives Matter activists, even despite how people may have felt it was wrong for them to interrupt him, he did let them, he stepped out of the way and let them speak. When Black Lives Matter finally were able to get to an event that they weren't blocked out of, right? They were finally able to, well, actually it was the AUC Shut It Down group here in Atlanta. We're able to get to a Hillary event. We're able to challenge her to push back on her issues in terms of taking her PACs and her campaign, taking money from private prison lobbyists and financial bundlers, as well as her death penalty stance, among other things. John Lewis and Usher and others were right there to shut them down and usher them out. No pun intended. But, you know, that whole campaign inside, it's as if that there is no room for pushback. Whereas Bernie Sanders, his campaign has embraced the criticism and the critique. Now, he's not going to just roll over and just do whatever you say, but I really do feel like, and I don't know what the rest of you think from reading the racial justice plan. And if you have not read the racial justice plan, you definitely need to, especially if you're going to try and talk to Black voters. It's a very thorough plan. Could it go further? Sure. But there's room for us as a movement, as a group, to really engage in dialogue and create change on a level that has not happened before. That is not a diss to President Obama, but we did not demand that of him when he was going into office. We were thankful to have someone to bring us out of the very bad position we were in 2008. And that's fine, but we've learned from that lesson that we need to hold people accountable. We need to be very clear with our requests going forward. He is a responsive leader. I absolutely agree with that. Upstate Raider, he is a responsible leader. So to the piece earlier, Charles's Blow piece earlier, like I agree. We need to stop trying to pin people as some savior to save Blackness. But I really feel like a lot of what's happening and a lot of pushback against Bernie is a lot of anxiety and angst that people have because President Obama was not the Messiah they made him to be in their head.